Hello everyone. I welcome you all in lecture 3 of module 1 stress and strain. And what we have discussed in last lecture was one of the numerical, and the data for that was something like this. The loading on a steel bar of 30 mm diameter as shown in figure, and find the elongation of the bar if Young's modulus is 205 gigapascal, and that figure was given. And what is changing over here in this diagram is the force acting on segment is different from point to point. But if we consider the equilibrium of this complete structure, then summation effects, if we apply, then it will become 0. So this will become minus 40 plus 10 minus 20 plus 50. So this will give you summation effects equal to 0. So the complete structure is in equilibrium. So while analyzing what we have done in last lecture, that we have considered different segments, and we have again considered that each segment is under equilibrium, and we have considered that part of each. So we are aware that delta L is equal to PL over AE, and then it was modified further as delta L1 plus delta L2 plus delta L3. So delta L1 we said for this part, segment 1, delta L2 for this part, segment 2, and delta L3 for this part as segment 3. And then we have written it as it is equal to, say, delta L1 equal to P1 L1 divided by A1 E1, and so on. So for further analysis, what we have said that area of cross section for all segments is same, and Young's modulus, so material is same throughout, so Young's modulus is same, so that A and E for segment 1, 2 and 3 is same, so that is taken out as a constant, and what is changing is the force applied over there in each segment is different, and length of each segment is different. So then further what we have done is we have considered each segment. Okay, so what we have done, to calculate the force acting on each member, free body diagram of each member is to be drawn, and as the complete body is in equilibrium, each member must also be in equilibrium. So what we have done in that case, the free body diagram and force acting on individual member were drawn, and were shown as what is drawn over here. So if I am considering this segment, and if I am applying 40 kN force, if I am considering this force as 40 kN, then for equilibrium of this segment, only this segment, this force must be equal and opposite. So 40 kN over here. But in actual structure, there is 10 kN force. So for segment 2, I need to apply 30 kN opposite force. Okay. So that sum of these two at this particular position will become 10 kN. And if I am considering now equilibrium of segment 2, then again I need 30 kN force over here. So in segment 3, I will be applying 50 kN force in this direction, so that summation of these two will be equal to 20 kN in opposite x direction, and 50 kN as it is what is given in original structure. So when we are considering different segments, then that segment must also be in equilibrium. Okay. So what we have done further was the total change in length of the body can then be written as, then we have written it like delta L is equal to, so this 1 divided by AE. So 1 area is pi by 4 30 square for all segments. So it is written over here, and Young's modulus, that was 205 gigapascal, that was given. So it is into 10 to the power 3. And this is common, taken out, and what is remaining is the force in each segment and length of each segment. So for first segment it was 40 kilonewton assumed or considered. So 40 into 10 to the power 3 converted into Newton, and 150 mm is its length. So 40 into 10 to the power 3 into 150, this stands for P1 L1. Similarly P2 L2 and P3 L3. And then if we calculate that P1 L1, it gives 6 into 10 to the power 6. P2 L2, it gives 16.5 into 10 to the power 6. And P3 L3 is something 10 into 10 to the power 6. So if we sum it together and if we multiply it by this part, that was 1 divided by AE. Okay, so then what we'll get is delta L equal to 0.2243 millimeter. So this is total change in length of this complete structure given for the analysis. So this numerical we have discussed in last lecture, and we will go further with one more numerical. So the statement of the numerical is something like this. Determine the force P required for the equilibrium of a steel bar shown in the figure, and also find the elongation of the bar. So in earlier numerical, 4 values of the forces at different points that was given, and in this numerical what is given is at this particular position 100 kilonewton force is applied, at this particular point 200 kilonewton force is applied. Over here some force is there and value of that is not given, so it is P, and at this position it is 150 kilonewton. And what is given in earlier numerical, the diameter 30 mm was throughout constant. So here for segment 1 that diameter is 30 mm, for segment 2 that diameter is 25 mm, and segment 3 that diameter is 30 mm. And length is also changing. So for segment 1 it is 600 mm, for second it is 800 mm, and for third it is 1000 mm. So what is constant over here in this numerical is just value of Young's modulus, that is given 200 gigapascal. So material is same throughout, so Young's modulus is constant. Rest all is different, changing from position to position or from segment to segment. So to start with, initially we need to find what this force P is, and if this complete structure, if it is to be in equilibrium, summation Fx must be equal to 0. So if we apply that for equilibrium of complete structure, then what we can write is minus 100, that is minus x direction. So minus 100 plus 200 minus P plus 150 must be equal to 0. So with this equation we can calculate what is value of P force for equilibrium. So P comes out to be 250 kilonewton. So if this is the force applied over there for equilibrium, then what again we need to do is we will be considering each segment separately, and for each segment again we will consider the equilibrium of that particular part. Okay, so for first segment what we can do is if 100 kilonewton force is there, for equilibrium of that I will be considering 100 kilonewton force opposite to this force. So if it is considered, then P1 is 100 kilonewton. Now this is tensile for segment 1. Now what will be happening for segment 2? Try to understand that. Now here total force is 200 kilonewton. Out of that 100 kilonewton is considered over here. So 100 kilonewton is not considered in this segment. So that is remaining. So what we can do is for segment 2, if we draw its free body diagram, now this 100 kilonewton and this 100 kilonewton total together will be 200 kilonewton, what is applied in original structure. So this is 100 kilonewton, and for equilibrium of this segment 2 there must be opposite 100 kilonewton. So try to understand. Now for segment 1 that is tensile, for segment 2 that will be compressive. Okay, and this total together at this joint will be 200 kilonewton force applied. Okay, so further what we can do is for segment 2 that P2 becomes 100 kilonewton compressive, and for segment 3 now 100 kilonewton is considered over here, and we have calculated that P force is 250 kilonewton. So what is remaining over here is out of 250, 100 is considered in segment 2. So for segment 3, 150 kilonewton is remaining. So free body diagram of that segment 3 will be something like this: 150 kilonewton tensile over here, and in original structure 150 kilonewton is as it is. So this is tension. So for segment 3, P3 becomes 150 kilonewton tensile. Now elongation of the bar is given by this. Now you are knowing that delta L is equal to PL over AE. So only what is constant is Young's modulus, because material is same in segment 1, segment 2 and segment 3. And what we can write further is the total change in length of the complete structure can be written something like this. So delta L1 plus delta L2 plus delta L3 as what we have written in last numerical. And while in last numerical that area of cross section was same, so that A we have taken out. Okay, so 1 divided by A we have written in that equation. Here area of cross section is changing, so what we can write over here is E is constant, so only E is taken out, and P1 L1 divided by A1, it stands for segment 1. Segment 2 P2 L2 divided by A2, and for segment 3 it will become P3 L3 divided by A3. So instead of this delta L1, what can be written? P1 L1 divided by A1 E1. So that E is constant, it is taken out. Okay. So what it will give you? So 1 divided by E, it becomes 1 divided by 200 into 10 to the power 3. So 200 gigapascal is value of Young's modulus given. So that is as it is. And for all areas, that is circle, so area of cross section will be pi by 4 d square. So pi by 4 is taken out over here, 4 divided by pi, and only diameter square is written inside. Okay, so P1 is 100 kilonewton tensile, so 100 into 10 to the power 3 in Newton. Its length is 600 mm over here, and its diameter is 30 millimeter. So 30 square is its area. Pi by 4 is written outside. So this is regarding P1 L1 divided by A1. So what we can write for second? Now for P2 L2 divided by A2. So P2 is 100 kilonewton, but this is compressive. Earlier P1 is tensile. So if it is positive, and P2 if it is compressive, then we need to write it as negative. So 100 into 10 to the power 3 into its length is 800 mm and its diameter is 25, so that will be 25 square. And for third segment, what it will become? Now again for third segment it is 150 kilonewton tensile, so it is written to be plus 150 into 10 to the power 3. Its length is 1000 millimeter divided by diameter square, so 30 square. So if we calculate this further, what we will get? So once again I have written this equation over here, what we have already written. Okay, so what we will get from this? For this particular part, this 4 divided by pi into E, so this calculation is 6.3662 into 10 to the power minus 6, and for this part, segment 1 it gives 66.67 into 10 to the power 3. For segment 2 it gives minus 128 into 10 to the power 3, and for segment 3 it gives this value. So if you sum it together, you need to take care that for compression it is negative. Okay, so if you take sum of this and if you multiply it with this value, you will get change in length of complete structure. So that gives you 0.671 millimeter. So everything is in Newton and mm. So your calculation and answer will be in millimeter. Okay. So this is regarding this second numerical. So with this numerical, what we are going further is we will go through a small video, and that video is regarding tensile test. Or the material for tensile test used is copper, and we will go through this video. So we will understand what further we want to discuss about. Okay, so let us go through this video. Please go through this video. Actually, this is a universal testing machine, and a copper bar is under tension. So test is going on, and we are now not interested in complete what is happening to it. Some force is increasing and the displacement is also taking place. Okay, so what you need to observe right now is Now as this length is increasing, as this length of the bar is increasing, observe to the diameter. The diameter of the bar is getting decreased. So if you observe to this video, understand over here, this diameter of the bar is getting decreased as the length is increasing due to tension or due to axial force. That diameter is getting decreased. So with the video what we have seen, we'll go further with the discussion regarding lateral strain and Poisson's ratio. Up till now what we have discussed is regarding longitudinal strain, and it is the elongation or contraction per unit length. So that we have discussed, or delta L is equal to PL over E, and strain epsilon is equal to delta L divided by L. So with this, if delta L is increase or decrease in length of a body of length L, the strain epsilon is delta L divided by L. So this we have already discussed, and now let us try to understand what we understand by lateral strain. Due to applied axial external force, axial increase or decrease in the dimension creates the change in lateral dimension. So if the force is applied along length, there will be some change in diameter or some change in width, some change in height, whatsoever the cross section is. So try to understand this diagram. Okay. So if this is the force applied along this axis, and if this is tensile, then the length will be getting increased. Okay. But due to increase in the length, the other dimension will be getting decreased. So also, if the member is subjected to compressive force, its length along which that force is applied will get decreased. However, the other dimension will get increased in this particular case. So this is called as lateral strain. So what exactly the discussion is? Thus, any direct stress produces a strain in its own direction as well as in the opposite kind of strain in all other directions at right angle to its own direction. This strain is referred as lateral strain. So what is the discussion? Any direct stress produces a strain in its own direction as well as an opposite kind of strain in all other directions at right angle to its own direction, and that strain is referred as lateral strain. So lateral strain is change in diameter. It may be diameter, it may be width, it may be breadth. So whatsoever cross section is depending on that, divided by original dimension. Okay, that is lateral strain. So what we are discussing about further is Poisson's ratio. Now this ratio of the lateral strain to the longitudinal strain. So what was longitudinal strain? If the force is applied along axis at which length of that particular member is, then delta L divided by L is longitudinal strain. And if suppose the cross section is a circle and diameter is d, so if the diameter is changing by delta d, then delta d divided by d, original diameter, will be the lateral strain. So if you take a ratio of this, ratio of lateral strain to the longitudinal strain of any material when it is subjected to longitudinal stress, is known as Poisson's ratio. So the ratio of the lateral strain to the longitudinal strain when it is subjected to longitudinal stress is called Poisson's ratio. So generally we denote it by mu, and in case of elastic material, the lateral strain is proportional to the longitudinal strain, or ratio of these two strains is constant. So what we can write is lateral strain to the longitudinal strain, this ratio is constant. And now what can be written is, if we take this longitudinal strain in this direction, so this is epsilon. So lateral strain is equal to minus mu times epsilon. Why minus is written? If length is increasing, diameter or the other dimension will be decreasing. If length is decreasing, other dimension will be increasing. So it is opposite of what is happening with the force applied. Okay, so that is minus mu times epsilon, and now epsilon is sigma divided by E. You are knowing it. Okay, so that can also be written as minus mu times sigma divided by E. That is Young's modulus. Okay, so for most of the materials, that mu lies in between 0.25 to 0.34, and it cannot be greater than 0.5. So with this, try to understand what happens is if the force is applied along a particular axis, then that is axial force for that particular dimension, and in another direction there will be change in the dimension. So the force in which that force is applied is called longitudinal, and the other is called lateral. Okay, so with this discussion we will conclude with this lecture. Again we will discuss in the next lecture regarding numerical about what we have discussed today. Thank you all.